On Tech News today, Huawei invents a battery that charges 2/3 full in 2 minutes. Plus, the world's leading drone maker is opening a brick-and-mortar drone store. And Motorola proves once and for all that people just can't stop touching their smartphones. It's all coming up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Tech News Today for Monday, November 16th, 2015. This episode is brought to you by BolandBranch.com, the most comfortable sheets on the planet. If you order right now, they'll give you $50 off a set of sheets, plus free shipping. Just go to BOLLANDBRANCH.com. Make sure you use the offer code TNT. And by Ring Video Doorbell. With Ring, you can see and talk to anyone at your door from anywhere in the world using your smartphone. It's like caller ID for your home. Right now, get free expedited FedEx shipping in time for the holidays when you go to ring.com/TNT. Tech News Today is the show where we talk about the tech news with the journalists who report it. My name is Mike Elgan, and our co-anchor today is CNET.com editor-in-chief Lindsey Turrentine. How you doing, Lindsey?
I'm doing great, Mike.
Great. I'm so glad to hear it. You know, it was a lovely weekend here in California. You're probably, I think you're about 60, 70 miles south of the Brick House here in Petaluma. You're in Silicon Valley, deep in the heart thereof. Right? I mean, you're in Silicon Valley.
Right now, and in this moment, I am sitting in San Francisco.
Okay. I see. Well, I think that's Silicon Valley, isn't it? There's no valley anywhere.
Sure, it is now. It's Silicon Valley North.
Okay. All right, certainly a lot of startups there. Why don't we jump into the top news, of course. ISIS terrorists attacked 6 locations in Paris Friday, killing at least 129 people. The attack sparked a new debate about encryption as reports and speculation circulated that the attackers use encrypted communication to plan without alerting authorities. Some reports say that the terrorists used PlayStation 4 gaming consoles to communicate with each other. National security figures blamed NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden and encryption for making the attacks possible, while privacy advocates said terrorist attacks occurred before widespread encryption, that there are always ways to communicate privately, and that a lack of coordination between governments was a bigger factor than the existence of encryption. After the attacks, people around the world rushed to social media, including Twitter, and on Facebook. Facebook initiated its safety check feature, which enabled French users to tell family and friends that they were safe. Lindsey Turrentine, it was kind of anytime there's a big attack like this, and of course, attacks of this magnitude don't happen very often. This is the biggest attack on a Western target since 9/11. But still, people rush together in solidarity and then start squabbling. And one of the things people are squabbling about is encryption. And anytime somebody is on one side of any issue, no matter what it is, if it's a political issue, they wait until some event in their mind confirms their pre-existing opinion, and then they rush to say, see, I told you. And so this is inevitably happening on the encryption front. And so we still don't know how this thing was planned, how it really came down, or exactly what led to an attack of this sophistication and magnitude completely under the radar. So it was really interesting to see that debate, and of course we're going to be having that debate going forward. But the fact is that the existence of this attack shouldn't change the facts of the debate. Nothing has really changed in terms of whether encryption is good, bad, indifferent, whether the government should have backdoors or shouldn't. None of that changes just because there was an attack.
Oh, I completely agree with you. And I think there are people out there having that conversation, but just nobody pays attention to it until the moment where there's some finger pointing that we can do, and some Monday morning quarterbacking. And one of the things that I think is really interesting is this conversation about whether the PlayStation Network was used. Yeah. It sounds like there's absolutely no confirmation the PlayStation Network was used for terrorists to communicate with each other, but it's one kind of plausible theory. And the thing that I think is interesting that kind of goes around the encryption conversation, and Forbes has a great article on this actually, kind of talking about how the PSN network could have been used. And it basically points a finger at the fact that this kind of like IP communications generally are just, beyond the encryption question, just kind of too hard for most government agencies to handle. Yeah. Like, there are too many people. It's too complicated. there are too many. It's such a mesh of, 65 million active users on PSN. It's just almost impossible for governments to find the terrorists. So I think that there's an interesting conversation there too. That's sort of like, okay, look, we can fight about encryption, but let's also just kind of talk about like how complicated the world is. And there may be some things that people just cannot prevent. It's just life.
And it also has to be said that I think ISIS or Daesh, however you want to call them, is significantly more sophisticated around technology and social media than Al-Qaeda is or was. And of course, what they will do is anything that enables them to communicate privately, they will find that method. And there will always be methods like that unless we were in some sort of dystopian situation where there was no such thing as Tor. There no encryption would be legal. That kind of world is a very insecure world. If the government itself can't communicate securely, if people who are fighting on the right side of history can't communicate with each other securely, then we're in serious trouble. So, I think that these calls to enable backdoors are dangerous because, of course, if there's a backdoor, you can't really control who goes through that door and what they do and so on. I also thought it was really interesting. There was a controversy brewing over Facebook's launch of Safety Check. I personally realized that they were doing this when I got a list of friends in Paris who all checked in as being okay. Essentially, they know where you are and they say, okay, check in and say that you're okay. And they do that, and then all their family and friends get this notification saying so-and-so is okay. And there was a controversy that there was a huge attack, of course, a couple of days before the Paris attacks in Beirut, Lebanon, for which this feature was not enabled. And Facebook defended itself by saying, well, we never intended this to be something we used in terrorist attacks. It was for natural disasters. But when we saw how much intense activity there was on Facebook about people asking, are you okay, what's going on, we decided to throw the switch and enable this feature for this particular attack.
It's interesting. I mean, I think that there's definitely a serious conversation to be had about why this gets enabled for Paris and not for Beirut. But the reality is that there may not be as many people using Facebook there, right? I mean, right. It may just have to do with the sort of the actual fabric of the social network in each region. Although I do think, if we're going to turn it on for this kind of attack, then there has to also be a serious conversation about whether or not it gets turned on for ongoing problems, right? Like Syria, for example, the same number of people die basically every day there because of ISIS as died in Paris. How do you keep track of those folks and the people who are leaving and fleeing the country? There's so much to talk about. Yeah, there certainly is. Well, let's move on to some additional news, some happier news, actually. But first, I want to tell you about our new sponsor, BowlandBranch.com. You spend so much of your life in bed between the sheets, and you'd love to have great sheets, but they're really, really expensive, unless you get them from Bowl & Branch. Bowl & Branch cuts out the middleman and gets away from the ridiculous markups that really good sheets cost in the store. One of the things I like about them is that they're entirely made out of organic cotton. So this is a great material that's very friendly for your skin, and they're also certified fair trade, which means that, of course, the people who make this bedding are treated fairly. They're paid a reasonable wage, and so that'll help you sleep better as well. 3 U.S. presidents sleep on Bowl & Branch. They don't say which ones. This is a great product that lots of people are really, really enjoying. And, if you spend like a huge amount of money on super high thread count sheets, you're basically encountering some marketing spin there. Thread counts have nothing to do with quality. Quality materials are what make high-quality sheets high quality. Bowl & Branch is so confident that you'll love their sheets, they'll let you try them completely risk-free for 30 nights. It even gets better. If you order right now, they'll give you a $50 off a set of sheets plus free shipping. Go to bowlandbranch.com and use the offer code TNT. That's $50 off a sheet set immediately by going Bowl & Branch. I'm going to spell that out for you. It's BOLLANDBRANCH.com, and make sure you use the offer code TNT. That's offer code TNT.
Huawei appears to have invented a new kind of battery that charges fast, really fast. Zoe Kleinman is a tech journalist for the BBC and joins us to talk about it. Welcome to the show, Zoe.
Thank you very much. Hi.
So glad to have you. That is such a BBC looking situation. I was just saying before the show, I feel like I'm on the BBC. This is really exciting. Now, how fast does Huawei claim they can charge a smartphone battery?
So this is a really interesting new bit of tech from Huawei. They reckon that they can charge a sort of lower powered battery by 68% in 2 minutes.
Wow.
And a higher powered battery, which is probably more realistic for using a smartphone for any period of time, they reckon could charge 48% in just 5 minutes, which is amazing. I mean, I plugged my phone in this morning and it said something like, 3 hours and 15 minutes until fully charged. So this is potentially a real game changer. Now, it's only a prototype. You need a separate charger, as you can see there, for it. You can't just switch in, just plug it into your normal charger. And it will only work with a Huawei handset, of course, which is handy for them. But potentially, there's a lot of research going on because battery tech has lagged so far behind other tech advancements. Your phone can do so much, your tablet, your laptop can do so much, but we're all still constrained all the time by the horrible realization that you're running out of power.
So I have a question. There are some other technology. I think Qualcomm has made some claims about fast charging phones with the Snapdragon processor. There are other phones on the market that are getting faster. How does this compare to what's out there now in sort of the fastest charging phones?
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a race, if you like, going on. I saw something debuted at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas at the beginning of the year that claims to be able to charge a battery in less time than it takes to boil a kettle, which is amazing. Samsung has said that it's in its new Galaxy 6 handsets, there's going to be a battery that will give you 40% charge in about 10 minutes. So it's kind of part of a general recognition that we really need to get on with battery tech. The difficult thing is using the materials. And this battery, the difference about this one is that it's lithium ion, which is what most batteries are at the moment. Now, other people are experimenting with using other materials like aluminium or graphene, for example. But lithium ion is something that we know is safe and is kind of already an industry standard. So I think the difference here is that it's taking what we already have and trying to make it faster rather than sort of reinventing the wheel, if you like.
One of the problems with batteries these days, in addition to how long it takes to charge them, is the fact that every time you do charge them, you weaken the battery, you hasten its ultimate demise, and it gets to the point where it just gets weaker and weaker, and you have to either replace the battery, replace the phone, or do something like that. What about Huawei's tech? Are they helping to solve that problem as well?
Well, they say that the tech they're using something called heteroatoms, which is a kind of atom that's neither carbon nor hydrogen. And they say that will help to manage this fast charging without depleting the battery life. But Mike, you're quite right that batteries have what they call a life cycle. And if you look at the websites of all of the big tech giants, they will tell you online what the life cycle is. And they look at a charge from 0 to 100. So whether you do that all in one go or whether you charge your phone, let's say, for 20% every single day, and you never let it run flat. The iPhone, for example, Apple's iPhone, says it's good for 500 charges. So that's 500 times going from 0 to 100. You should be able to expect an average battery life of about 80% during that cycle. iPhone is a little bit lower than some other brands. Some others go up to 750 cycles or 1,000 cycles, which gives you, it depends what you're doing, doesn't it? But it gives you maybe a couple of years worth of decent battery. But you're right, everybody finds in the end, don't they, that their battery just isn't good enough for the job anymore.
Is this going to be available for us anytime in the near future? What is Huawei saying about availability?
Well, Lindsey, they're saying that it's a prototype. It's not available right now. I mean, these things are moving quite fast. We might see it in the next couple of years, but then it might be overtaken by something else. All they've said today is, here is something that we're working on. And I think it's really encouraging to see these big tech giants addressing that issue because, increasingly it's just becoming ridiculous, isn't it, that you can't even have your phone throughout the course of the day without somehow having to charge it up because it's doing so much. It's so much busier than the old phones were. We really need the batteries to catch up.
We really do, and we feel I personally feel a strong sense of entitlement to that. Every aspect of a smartphone should just get faster and better all the time. I mean, look at processing power, the amount of memory, the screen technology, the sound systems, all of these different attributes of a smartphone have just gotten way better, way faster than batteries have. Batteries just keep lunging along, and they try software tricks for the most part to improve battery life. But it's great to see some hardcore tech at least attempting to catch up. Zoe Kleinman is at bbc.co.uk. You can find her on Twitter at ZSK. Zoe, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye-bye. Privacy advocates filed comments to the FTC warning about a new form of advertising that uses inaudible sounds to track users on mobile devices. The Center for Democracy and Technology claims that ultrasonic sounds are being embedded into TV commercials and display ads online. These sounds communicate to other devices so that advertisers can match the user watching one ad with the user using other devices. The comments specify companies called Silverpush, Drawbridge, and Flurry, but they particularly point out Silverpush as offering this technology to advertisers. Silverpush reportedly embeds its technology into 67 apps that have nothing to do with the advertising company, and that these apps are running on 18 million phones. Lindsey, Turrentine, it's not clear yet how concerned we should be with this technology, and it appears that essentially what this company is doing, and maybe all three of these companies are doing, and maybe other companies as well, is they're going to app developers and then say, okay, we're going to pay you to just embed this technology in the app. It won't change the way that your app looks. It'll send out a little noise, or it'll listen for a noise when it's running or whatever. And essentially what they're trying to do is that, the average person might be using 5 different devices. And let's say they're watching a TV commercial that sends out these inaudible sounds, and then one or more of those devices will sort of pick up the sounds and say, yeah, this is the same person who's watching the TV ad right now, who also has this phone and also has this tablet, that sort of thing. They're trying to match up devices to users so that they can track people more effectively. Should we be concerned about this? What do you think?
Well, I think like with anything, you have to be able to opt out. And that's kind of what this letter was asking for. This is what happens with cookies. You're able to, at the very least, if you understand cookies on the web, when you're annoyed by the stalkery behavior of web advertising, you can choose to opt out. It's not necessarily that easy, but at least there's that choice. And it seems like we should be concerned if there's not an obvious way or a transparent way for us to say, hey, please don't pay attention to where I am physically. I mean, this is very much like what's going to end up happening with use of beacons in retail environments. We always, I think it's my opinion, but we should always be able to opt out.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We should know what's happening, not have this secret communication going on between our devices. Well, the Wall Street Journal is reporting in an exclusive this morning that Facebook is allowing Google to index its mobile app. That means that from a smartphone, you'll be able to search Google and find links in the results that open in the Facebook app on your phone and show you the results inside the app. These deep links don't work yet, and the launch date is unknown. I think this is great, Lindsey, Turrentine, because, of course, Facebook search is terrible. And maybe if we can search Facebook, at least the mobile app version of Facebook, via Google, we might be able to find stuff on Facebook.
No, I totally agree. I look for things on Facebook all the time and can never find them, even things that I've posted, which is very frustrating. But I think it's also really interesting because Google and Facebook are essentially competing with each other for dominance of the web. And to me, it's super interesting that Google would do this.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but, on the other hand, it makes Google more valuable because its search can search Facebook, and it makes Facebook more valuable because people can find things on Facebook, and we'll find, you go searching for something that has, we're not even thinking about Facebook, and it'll give you a result. You click on it, it opens a Facebook app, and wow, there it is on Facebook. It sort of helps Facebook establish itself as a content destination. So they both win, but it is interesting. This kind of alliance between enemies is pretty rare in Silicon Valley. So I think it's a win for users, at least. Well, in product update news, everybody's got a retail store these days. Apple, of course, has hundreds of them. Even Motorola and Amazon have set up brick-and-mortar stores recently. And the latest surprising company to enter the retail space is none other than DJI, the Chinese drone maker, which is planning to open a drone store in Shenzhen, China, in a mall next month. The company promises to showcase its full line of quadcopters, which range in price from $500 to over $4,000. This makes me want to go to China. I want to go to a drone store. Very, very cool. All right. Well,
it's cool. Yeah. I mean, I want to go to a drone store that has more than one brand of drone. I actually just want to go to a drone store that specializes in all the drones so that I can race them before I decide which one to buy.
That would be great. And even a little testing area where you wear a helmet and goggles and you go in there and just fly drones and check them out. They would never allow that, actually, now that I think about it. People like me would go in there and just crash and be like, oh, well, I guess I'm not interested. See ya. So not going to happen. All right, well, we got some big numbers for you coming right up. But first, I want to talk about our other sponsor today, which is Ring Video Doorbell. I've been talking about Ring Video Doorbell for a long time, and this is the first time they've advertised on the show. I love the Ring Video Doorbell. I actually learned about it from Leo, and I'm like, oh, my God, I really want this. And one of the things that I was really excited about is for years, I mean, literally for, I think, maybe 10, 15 years, I've been trying to cobble together my own kind of Ring Video Doorbell solution. I want to know who's coming and going for security, just peace of mind, to know what's happening when I'm at work. And I've tried so many, I can't tell you how many different solutions I've tried. They're always so difficult. They're finicky. They're hard to connect to the network. So many problems. And at some point, a couple of years ago, I just gave up and it's just nobody is going to come out with a cool product. And Leo told me about Ring Video Doorbell, and I was blown away. I bought one. I installed it. It worked flawlessly. It was super easy to install. And now I'm in surveillance heaven. I can see what's happening on my front porch right in front of the front door. Sometimes it's the person dropping off a package. Sometimes it's the dog. I get notifications all day. And literally, this is the device I use more than any other device in my house because it's so valuable. Sometimes I just use of course I get the notification on my watch, and it makes a particular sound that I recognize, and I just know when something's happening at the front door. Sometimes I'll hear it sort of in the middle of the night. I won't pay that much attention to it because maybe it's the cat or something like that. But in the morning, I just go to the ring.com site and I check out the video that's just right there in the cloud. I can look at every single video that's triggered from the motion sensor. So the video is captured when something triggers the motion sensor, and video is captured when somebody rings the bell. When they ring the bell, your phone rings, and when you talk to that person, you can talk right through the app, right through the phone. I've found that almost everybody who interacts with the Ring Video Doorbell thinks that you're in the house using an intercom type system. They don't know that you're on the other side of the planet. They don't know that you're at work. They don't know you're not at home. And so it's none of their business anyway, right? I mean, you're communicating with them. You have a recorded video of their face and their voice, and it's just as if you're home. It's like being at home all the time without having to be at home all the time. And that's really why I love the Ring Video Doorbell. I'm so glad they're a sponsor on Tech News Today. And this year, you should give the gift of peace of mind and convenience with the Video Doorbell. Time Magazine named one of their top 10 gadgets. Go to ring.com/TNT for free expedited FedEx shipping. That's ring.com/TNT. And with Ring, you're always home. All right, well, we got a big number for you today, 400. That's how many dollars some eBay sellers are trying to charge for Apple's $99 pencil stylus for the iPad Pro. Apple flubbed the launch, and supplies of the pencil are very limited and back-ordered 4 to 5 weeks, which is creating the demand on eBay. Lindsey, Turrentine, what we don't know, there's a $449.99 price. Wow, it's going up. We don't know if people are actually buying them, actually agreeing to pay these prices, but somebody's going to be paying a lot more than $99 for these things just because they got their iPad Pro and they're dying to use the pencil.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, I used the iPad Pro for a week before the launch, and it's a really cool device. But to really take advantage of what makes it special, you have to have that thing.
Yeah.
So I can imagine that there are a lot of frustrated graphic designers out there, basically, who are like, I'm going to be the very first person in my company to use an iPad Pro. And then they're just sitting there with their finger.
Yeah. It's a little surprising that Apple, didn't have a bunch of these ready. It's like, 5 weeks for a product that they had, years to prepare for. Who knows? But anyway, it is surprising. And it's good, I guess it's good work if you can get it for you eBay sellers out there. So if you yourself got a chance to get an Apple Pencil to sell. All right, well, the news you can lose. Motorola posted a reality TV-style commercial for the Moto X starring Ashton Kutcher, for some reason, that attempts to demonstrate that people can't stop touching their phones. Let's take a look.
That people are actually in love with their phones. So we're gonna run a little experiment today. All you're gonna have to do is put your hands inside these circles. We're gonna close this door. It's gonna take a minute to calibrate the machines. What he doesn't realize is that we're not running a test at all. He's hooked up to absolutely nothing. We're just testing to see how long he can go without touching his cell phone.
They're also serving Folgers crystals. Okay, guys sitting there with their hands on the clear glass table inside of a box. There's a two-way mirror so that Ashton can look in, but they can't look out. Now they're texting the person. Phone's vibrating. Guys.
But see, they might think that the text is coming from Ashton Kutcher, and I would pick up the phone too. It's not fair.
I would block him.
Your phone is upside down.
Just for the Steve Jobs movie. All right, now they're freaking out. The anxiety is palpable. Somebody's trying to answer it with his nose. Now there's a red light, big alarm. Door opens. Ashton comes back in.
The Moto X Pure Edition is a hands-free phone. If you got a text message, the phone would actually tell you.
Text from Matt.
Listen.
Matt said, experiment complete.
So the whole point of this is that with the Moto X, you don't have to touch the phone. You can answer it even while your hands are inside circles on a glass table for some reason. Anyway, interesting ad. It is a great feature, that's for sure. So anyway, you've been punked. What can I say? All right, we got some feedback from a Twitter fan. It's a TNT fan on Twitter whose name is Nick. And Nick asked, why do you cover Kickstarter campaigns? A Kickstarter campaign doesn't exist yet, and the product will probably never exist, so why do you bother? And my answer to that is that, well, we don't cover, it's true that many, many Kickstarter campaigns don't ever result in actual products shipped. However, we don't cover more than 99.9% of crowdfunding campaigns. We just try to occasionally cover the really interesting ones and the really newsworthy ones. And sometimes it's because it's a crazy idea. Sometimes it's because it's a great idea. And we also tend to cover the campaigns that are likely to get funded. And we also want to alert people to them in case you want to fund them yourself and participate, get in on the early bird pricing and all the rest. So I personally like the coverage we do of crowdfunding. I personally like crowdfunding as a concept, but I'd like to hear from you. Send us email to tnt@twit.tv and let us know how you like the fact that we cover Kickstarter campaigns, Indiegogo campaigns, and other crowd-funded products. Well, our TNT fan of the day is Ibis Na in North Palm Beach, Florida, who posted this picture on Twitter. He's watching the show at the airport while waiting for delayed flights. He says he loves the show, and there we are in the airport. Show us how you watch or listen to TNT. Just record a video or take a picture of yourself or your setup or your airport and post it on Instagram, Google+, Twitter, or Facebook, and use the hashtag #HowIWatchTNT so we can find it. Lindsey Turrentine, what the heck are you up to these days?
Okay, so we had something really exciting this morning.
Okay.
We announced the teaser for our upcoming giant, amazing automotive site. Done by CNET, called Road Show. So you can go to theroadshow.com to sign up for the newsletter or follow Roadshow on Twitter @Roadshow. And watch this video that you're seeing right now in the video version of the podcast because it is hilarious and there is an amazing Silicon Valley reference in it.
Awesome. And of course, there he is, Tim Stevens.
There's Mr. Tim
CNET's
Stevens.
car guy.
It's going to be awesome. And you have to see the video associated with this because it is like unparalleled.
Yeah. So it's a bunch of guys driving on a racetrack. There's Tim Stevens racing some other people. Are those other CNET employees?
Yes.
Okay. So, boy, that's good work if you can get it.
Wait. Hold on for a little bit for this scene here.
Is it pulled up or something?
Watch Tim.
Whoa.
Got hit by a cup holder.
Cup holder went flying. It popped off, hit him in the face. See, cars are dangerous.
This goes on for about 3 minutes, but it's awesome.
Yeah, it looks like they're violating the local speed ordinances. I'm not a policeman or an expert, but it looks like they're going way too fast.
It's Detroit.
Oh, okay. Nobody's there.
Michigan,
right.
There's nobody.
Exactly. All right, Lindsey. Well, thank you so much for co-anchoring today, and we will see you next week.
Great. See you next week, Mike.
All right, bye-bye. Let us know what's on your mind. You can send us email to tnt@twit.tv. You can call us at 260-TNT-SHOW. That phone number is 260-868-7469. You can subscribe to Tech News Today on iTunes or choose some other way to subscribe on our site, twit.tv/TNT. You can also watch us live every weekday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1700 UTC at twit.tv/live or follow us on Twitter at Tech News Today TV. Don't miss our other news show, Tech News Tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific every single weeknight. And that is the Tech News Today. The show is produced by Jason Cleanthus and edited by Anthony Nielsen. My name is Mike Elgan. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.